We're ready.
Good morning, and welcome to the regular Board of Supervisor meeting this Tuesday, March 25th. Madam Clerk, will you read out the closed session agenda?
Item 1, pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D1, conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation and National Prescription Opioid Litigation, County Calaveras et al. Versus AmerisourceBergen Drug Corporation et al., United States District Court of the Northern District of Ohio, member case number 1180, OP 45645. Item 2, pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D2, conference legal counsel, anticipated litigation, one case, significant exposure to litigation.
Thank you. Is there any public comment? I can't speak this morning. Seeing none, we will go into closed session and be back at 9 a.m. for the rest of our meeting. Thank you. Okay, we are back. Good morning, everybody. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Madam CEO, will you lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you report out from closed session, please?
Yes, item 1, pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D1, conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation, and National Prescription Opioid Litigation, County of Calaveras et al. Versus AmerisourceBergen Drug Corporation et al., United States District Court of the Northern District of Ohio, member case number 1180 OP 45645. Board action, no reportable action taken. Item 2, pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D2, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, 1 case, significant exposure to litigation. Board action, no reportable action taken.
Thank you. We'll move on to staff announcements. Are there any staff announcements today? Mr. Holt.
Just a quick one. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. in the next rover, we are doing our CWPP, Community Wildfire Protection Plan kickoff meeting. So we are taking on rewriting and updating the 2020 plan. That'll come with quite a few workshops and things within your district. So I'll work to schedule those with you guys out for the next year. But it's a pretty heavy take with a lot of community involvement. So if you're available tomorrow, 9 a.m., a couple of you have done that, but like I said, I'll get with you guys and we'll plan workshops so that you can attend those with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other staff announcements? We'll move on to recognitions and acknowledgements.
Item 3, proclamation, Health and Human Services Agency, adopt a proclamation declaring the month of April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Be the One month in Calaveras County.
And I'll hand the gavel over to Supervisor Andal.
Whereas every child deserves to grow up in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment free from harm, neglect, and abuse. And whereas child abuse and neglect can have lasting physical, emotional, and developmental effects on children, but prevention efforts can significantly reduce the risks and support children in their growth and development. And whereas the Be the One campaign raises awareness of the power of connection and caring relationships in building supportive environments for all children to thrive. And whereas the theme of this year's Child Abuse Prevention Month, It Takes a Village, reminds us that well-being of our children requires a collective effort from families, communities, organizations, society at large. And whereas it is the responsibility of all members of the community to collaborate and work together to build a network of protection, education, and support for every child. And we all have the power to be the one today. Is there any public comment?
Good morning. Thank you for having me here today, members of the board. My name is Amy Eves, and I serve as the Executive Director for First 5 Calaveras. I am here today on behalf of Prevent Child Abuse Council to express our heartfelt gratitude for proclaiming April as Be the One month in Calaveras in honor of National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Research consistently shows that nurturing connections are essential to the health and well-being of children. The 2025 theme for National Child Abuse Prevention Month, It Takes a Village, underscores the importance of positive, supportive relationships in preventing child abuse. Throughout April, we will be celebrating the strength of our village at several key events. On April 5th, we will kick off with the Calaveras Children's Fair at Calaveras High School in San Andreas. On April 18th, professionals who work with Calaveras children are invited to the First 5 Calaveras Spring Professional Development event in Murphy's. And on April 25th, we invite you to the first annual Children's Memorial Flag Raising Ceremony. followed by the Light of Hope Awards at the Calaveras Children's Advocacy Center in Valley Springs. We invite you to show your support for child abuse prevention. You can wear blue throughout the month of April, share a photo on social media, and use the hashtags #WearBlueForKids and Be the One. You can also get involved by joining our free Strengthening Calaveras Families Learning Community. This is an opportunity to learn how you can directly support the well-being of our children and families in our community. Classes are offered year-round on a variety of topics, and you can visit first5calaveras.org for more details or call 209-754-6914. Child abuse is preventable when every child has at least one caring, supportive adult who believes in their potential and provides unconditional care. We all have the ability to be the one for a child. Together, as a village, we can create a community where every child has the opportunity to thrive. Thank you for your time and your commitment to making a difference in strengthening Calaveras families and preventing child abuse. And I have some flyers that I will be putting out in the lobby, including Stacy has given you all packets of these too. The flyers for our first annual Children's Memorial Flag Raising Ceremony. This is something that goes on all over the country. It's always held on the fourth Friday of April in honor of Child Abuse Prevention Month. And what that ceremony is about is acknowledging all of the many young lives that have been lost to child abuse and neglect. So we will start that tradition here in Calaveras County. I'm really excited about the partnerships that we've made in order to make that happen. And following that new ceremony, we will be doing the Light of Hope Awards, which this is the eighth year of Light of Hope Awards. And nominations are open until March 31st. You can get nomination forms on the First Five Calaveras website. And that anyone can nominate anyone who has been an incredible source of support for children or child in Calaveras County. So it's a great opportunity to honor those people who work directly and make such an impact on our children. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy.
Good morning. I just wanted to take a few minutes to say thank you to the community that has been really moving this prevention effort and child abuse prevention and keeping it in the forefront of a lot of the things that we do. You'll see in our presentation later, we have successfully over the last year reduced the number of children in foster care by 50%. So our efforts in really lifting up this theme of being the one, and this year's theme of It Takes a Village is really true, and it's really working, and it's impacting Calaveras County communities. And so I just really wanted to lift that up and just celebrate the work that the Prevent Child Abuse Calaveras Council is doing in our communities every summer. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? And then I'll bring it back to the board. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors, this 25th day of March 2025, does hereby declare April 2025 as Be the One month in the County of Calaveras. Thank you.
Council member. I'll just stand next to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to recognition item number 4.
Item 4, proclamation, District Attorney, proclaim April 2025 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Calaveras County.
Supervisor Stopper.
Thank you.
Your microphone.
Beat Susan to the punch this time, Ms. Poverty. Thank you. Whereas the high rate of sexual violence in California must be brought to public focus because it cannot be reduced until it is openly recognized and addressed. And whereas every citizen of Calaveras County is directly or indirectly affected and impacted by sexual violence. And whereas children and young adults are most at risk of sexual assault, and whereas during the 2024 calendar year, the Calaveras Crisis Center assisted 103 survivors of sexual assault, including 18 survivors under the age of 18. During the same period During the same period of time, the Calaveras Children's Advocacy Center provided counseling services for an additional 33 children who were victims of sexual abuse. And whereas statistics indicate that 67% of sexual crimes go unreported, and whereas victim shaming and blaming is a barrier to reporting sexual crimes, and it is important to recognize the heavy burden of sadness carried by victims of sexual assault, as well as the challenges faced by survivors and their families and friends as they struggle to cope. And whereas the courage, strength, and resilience of all survivors should be supported and recognized as an inspiration for others. And whereas the Calaveras County Sexual Assault Response Team, SART, is committed to helping victims of sexual assault crimes with a coordinated and effective response through the dedication and hard work of its 4 sexual assault forensic examiners led by Dr. Dean Kaleda, the Sheriff's Office, Angels Camp Police, the District Attorney's Office, the Probation Department, Calaveras Health and Human Services Agency, the Resource Connection, Calaveras Crisis Center, and Children's Advocacy Center, Dignity Health, Mark Twain Medical Center, and Mark Twain Healthcare District. So is there anything, anybody who would like to say anything?
Good morning, Barbara Uke, District Attorney. How fitting that we're following our good friends at the Prevent Child Abuse Council and Health and Human Services Agencies. And I see some CASAs in the room and some other partners in the Child Abuse Awareness Month, Prevention Month proclamation. Because in Calaveras County, sadly, sexual assault is primarily sexual assault against children. By way of example, currently my office is prosecuting a number of sexual assault cases. In one case, we have numerous children from one family who were sexually abused for many, many, many years. We have another case where there's 2 children in one family that were sexually abused for many years. We have another case with 3 victims. They reported as adults. One actually didn't report. We had to seek out this other victim. That demonstrates the point that a lot of victims do not report. They have to be found. Within the last couple of years, we've sent numerous sexual offenders to prison, including one man who raped an 8-year-old girl. I feel guilty bringing everybody down after we had such a great moment with the Be the One information and all the good work that our partners are doing. But those are the facts. And that's kind of something that is going on in the county. I think it's important for you to realize and for the public to realize because of the important work that needs to be supported and the victims that need to be supported. My office, through our, I'll just call it a phone cracking equipment and program that we use, it's called Celebrate. My DAIs, my investigators have located thousands and thousands of images and videos of children being sexually assaulted. That work is so important because not only does it help us build strong cases, it also helps us find additional victims, because once again, victims don't always report. And last year, I'm very proud to tell you that one of my investigators, DA investigator Mike Stone, was a recipient of the Light of Hope Award. Another key component to our efforts is the sexual assault response team. And I think Robin would like to speak to about that. One important note and how you can help is by supporting our START team. We are having our annual dinner this Saturday, and I think there's still some tickets available, but I will turn it over to Robin to talk to you more about that.
Good morning, Board. Thank you very much for having us here today. Robin Carter with the Crisis Center and Children's Advocacy Center. This is also Susan Lang. Susan oversees our advocates in the office. Yes, our START fundraiser is this Saturday, the 29th, at the Town Hall. I do still have tickets available. You can give me a call, 754-1300. I'd be happy to even deliver them to you. Doors open at 5 o'clock. It's going to be a great event, and our only fundraiser we have for the SART team. I want to say, first of all, that I am very honored that we get to take part in the first flag raising going to be held at the Children's Advocacy Center. The other thing that I also want to say is that we're very fortunate here in Calaveras County with the Crisis Center and at the Children's Advocacy Center is we have therapists, child therapists and adult therapists located at both of our sites. That is kind of unheard of, and we're very, very lucky to have that to serve our children and to serve our adults that have been victims of sexual assault. I also want to thank our entire team, all of my staff. We work so well with the Sheriff's Department, with probation, with the DA's office, and we're very lucky in our small rural community to have all of these partners wrap around our victims. So I just want to thank everybody.
Thank you. Any further comments? With that, before I bring it back to the board, it's we talk about non-reporting and people holding back generally because it's someone close to the family, maybe put in the family, and kids especially are hesitant, because they fear repercussions. So it's a tight-knit community. If you see anything, please reach out and, do support, because these type of things affect people for the rest of their lives. So with that, I'll bring it back to the board.
I'll move this.
I'll second.
Okay. A motion by Ms. Sandal, second by the chair. All those in favor?
Aye.
With that, now passes 5-0. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors this 25th day of March 2025 does hereby declare April 25, 2025 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the County of Calaveras. Hard one to clap for, but thank you for the good work. Come on up. I'm supposed to go.
Thank you. We'll now move on to general public comment. Madam Clerk?
Any item of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board and is not posted on the consent or regular agendas may be addressed during the public comment period. California law prohibits the board from taking action on any matter which is not posted on the agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the Board of Supervisors. If public comment is completed before the 30-minute allotted time period, the board may immediately move to the next order of business. If public comment is not completed during the allotted time period, it will be continued as the last item of business in order to provide an opportunity for the remainder of the comments to be heard.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment today? Mr. Butner.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Christopher Butner, publisher of Calaveras 2026election.com. I'm going to read this California Public Records request emailed on March 25th, 2025 at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to Sarah Edwards, Calaveras County Civil Counsel. Good morning, Ms. Edwards. Martin Huberty is a public official currently serving in the full-time capacity of District 3 Supervisor and Board of Supervisors 2025 Chair, while also currently serving in the full-time capacity of Executive Director of the Calaveras Visitors Bureau, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation, which is more than 90% publicly funded by Calaveras County transient occupancy tax per the Calaveras Visitors Bureau IRS filing for fiscal year ending June 2023. The above fact pattern is relevant in as much as it establishes that this public official earns 2 taxpayer-funded salaries, all or in part as compensation for 2 40-hour-per-week positions. Therefore, with the warning letter dated February 3rd, 2025, from the California Fair Political Practices Commission to this public official, Martin Huberty, upon the FPPC's Enforcement Division having completed its review of the facts in this case, number 2023-00471, I submit this public records request for 1. An accounting of this public official of the number of hours required of them to successfully complete the Fair Political Practices Commission's Political Reform Education Program course mandated to remediate their double-digit violations of the Political Reform Act for failing to timely disclose economic interests on their Statements of Economic Interest Form 700, and 2, to determine whether any of this remedial state-mandated education occurred during the business hours of this public official's 80-hour work week consisting of dual 40-hour full-time positions at taxpayer expense, all or in part. This is a request for a public official's accountability. The public has a right to know how much time this public official, Martin Huberty, has spent on this remedial activity, and if this remedial activity was conducted at any time during Huberty's taxpayer-compensated 80-hour work week, when he's expected as a public official to be working exclusively on behalf of the public that is paying both of his salaries. Specifically, the responsive records being requested are Huberty's test logs indicating the cumulative time this public official spent on the FPPC's Political Reform Education Program course and the date time stamps of each instance of his sessions. My name is Christopher Butner, publisher of Calaveras 2026election.com.
Thank you. Next.
Yes. Is this for the consent agenda?
No. Thank you. Good morning, Calaveras County Board of Supervisors. My name's Julie Threet, and I'm appearing before you today to appeal to your sense of duty to protect the members of your community from the COVID-19 vaccine and support any victims who have been injured. I'm from Butte County. In January 2021, I worked for public health. I took 2 shots of Moderna to save my community, and as a result, I got a lesion on my brain. I've had both retinas detached, and I'm now suffering from a heart condition. I was forced to resign that position when they required the booster, which I knew would kill me. So for the past 3 years, I've been speaking out against this dangerous product, and I'm traveling in person with another whistleblower, Ronald F. Owens Jr., to alert as many other counties in the state as possible. You're number 17. My request is for you to have an official agenda item set as soon as possible to hear directly from medical freedom doctors. I've got a list here of 13. I'll give it to your clerk, who will describe how this vaccine is harmful to every human being and should never be injected into pregnant women, healthy children, or our military. Maybe you could host town halls within your district. I'll come back up and speak to the members of your community. Maybe you could contact the 580 first responders that were the first people to get injected in your community back in late 2020. Again, I'm a former healthcare worker in Chico. I'm also a retired HR executive of 25 years in Silicon Valley. And now I'm lead investigator for VersAware.com, an organization that helps victims file their vaccine adverse event reports. And I produce data for the public. I'm also a certified expert in researching VAERS data using the National Vaccine Information Center. I'm going to give you copies of what I'm reading here today.
I'll be happy to come up and back up and speak with your Deputy Public Health Director, Colleen Rodriguez, or your Health Officer, Dr. Renee Ramirez, to train them on how to use the VAERS data. As an example, and again, I'll give you these numbers, as of the end of February, there are over 96,682 published VAERS reports for California related to the COVID vaccine alone. The number of children should shock you into action, especially those that are concerned with child abuse. There are 721 dead people in California, and these are published reports, so you can add a couple of zeros for underreporting. My mother's one of them. My mom took 4 shots of Moderna, otherwise healthy woman, and she dropped dead on vacation. Again, I'm vaccine injured. I've given you a copy of my VAERS report. During my time with Enloe Medical Center, where I also worked, I became personally knowledgeable about the problems with this shot, actually an administrative errors right there in the clinic. I will not leave this planet until there's accountability and full stop to this man-made disaster. We can't just turn a blind eye and move forward. And again, I'm here to support the victims. The lack of response and respect for those of us that are injured and or are victims that are forced to remain silent is infuriating and unacceptable. Please don't continue with this product in your county. Thank you for your attention to this critical issue. I'm a mom, I'm a grandma, and I'm a concerned American. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Sorry, 1 second.
On April 14,
hang on just a second.
2022,
Just a
Sorry.
second.
My timer is not wanting to cooperate. Okay. Okay, sorry, sir, go ahead.
that's right, stuck at 2:54.
There we go.
You just reset it to 3? Thank you. My name is Ronald F. Owens, Jr. I was the Public Information Officer at the California Department of Public Health for more than 14 years. Just about 3 years ago, last month, I learned that Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra said this regarding the COVID-19 vaccines, quote, "We know these vaccines are killing people of color, Black, Latino, Indigenous people at about 2 times the rate of white Americans." That's a shocker, isn't it? I apprised this board last July and 57 other boards of supervisors this shocking information. In that 5-page PDF, I included studies from Italy, Germany, Japan, that these vaccines are killing people. Also, I apprised this board that my employer muzzled me, but I didn't want to muzzle myself because this information needed to be shared with you and 40 million other Californians. Look, I'm a Christian. I love people. I don't care what color you are. But here are the optics. Black guy, killing 2 white superiors. These vaccines are killing people of color, and they discipline me. So I prematurely retired December 31st, 2023, and I immediately incurred a 55% pay cut. I'm not sharing this for my own self-aggrandizement. I'm sharing to make a point. I would have not have put my comfortable job and salary if I wasn't convinced that these vaccines are killing people. I also apprised this board and 57 other boards of supervisors this past December that between August 1st and December of 2024, more than 440 vaccine adverse event reporting systems were filed. 2 people died. If the Board of Supervisors had listened to me last July, perhaps that man and that woman would still be alive. Since then, an additional 100 to 150 people, these all Californians, are suffering because of these COVID-19 vaccines. According to Health and Safety Code 101025, you guys have a statutory responsibility to promote and preserve the public health. I urge this board to tell their pharmacies, to tell these hospitals in your county to stop administering COVID-19 vaccines. Again, as Judy Threet noted, I'm willing to come back anytime to share with you and also present subject matter experts to share with you how these vaccines are affecting women, children, people of all ages. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next.
Good morning. I am a resident of Calaveras County. I come to you today as a mother. At age 24, my son, who was in the medical field as a first responder, was required to take the whole vaccine series, including the booster. At each intervention of this, he became deathly ill, barely able to get out of bed, and at each one of these incidences, we thought we were going to lose him. It was that bad. He had approached his employer. The employer said they did not care, that in order to keep his job, he was still going to have to do this. We did a exemption by religious way, and we are Christian. That was denied as well. So he was forced to take this whole mandated series. My son, who started out in the medical field in health and fitness, he's on his way to becoming a nurse right now, very healthy, very health conscious, educates people on health, developed a blood clot after the vaccination. And luckily they were able to give him the treatment, the blood thinner, and absolve it. But since then, his health is not what it used to be. He is a young man, and he has no energy. He's not the same person. So I have literally seen the effects of what this vaccine has done. And I see on the Calaveras Public Health website that they're offering a $45 gift card and gas to take the flu shot. And this is very upsetting to me as a parent that I'm looking at a bribe on our public health site to take a vaccine, when in fact we should be educating on the possible dangers of vaccines so people can make better decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, my name's Debbie Rojas. I'm representing the new state of California, C1. I just want to read a few things. The Founding Fathers, framers, made it clear a Republican form of government was the only government for the United States when the representative body have lost the confidence of their constituents, when they have notoriously made sale of their most valuable rights, when they have assumed to themselves powers which people never put into their hands, then indeed their continuing in office becomes dangerous to the state. Thomas Jefferson. Remember, democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. There never was a democracy yet that did not commit suicide. John Adams. Democrats have been found incompatible with personal and security or the rights of the property, and in general has been short in their lives as they have been violent in their death. James Madison. If everyone is thinking alike, then no one is thinking. Benjamin Franklin. This issue today is the same as it has been throughout history, whether a man shall be allowed to govern himself or be ruled by a small elite. Thomas Jefferson. To compel a man to furnish funds for the propagation of ideas he disbelieves and abhors is sinful and tyrannical. Thomas Jefferson. A wise and frugal government which shall restrain men from injuring one another, which shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuance of industry, and the improvement shall not take more than 1 month of labor, bread in it has earned. This is the sum of good government, and this is necessary to close the circle of our felicities. Thomas Jefferson. Democracy means simply the bludgeoning of the people by the people for the people. Oscar Wilde. They who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety. Benjamin Franklin. It has been observed that the pure democracy, if it was practicable, would be most perfect government. Experience has proved that no position is more false than this. The ancient democracies in which the people they themselves deliberated never possessed one good feature of government. Their very character was tyranny, their figure deformity. Alexander Hamilton. The experience of all former ages has shown that all of human government's democracy was the most unstable, fluctuating, and short-lived. John Quincy Adams. If ever a time. Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Terry.
What a most appropriate day for us to be here. Terry McBride, New California State, Senate President Pro Tem and Senator of this county. Yesterday we claimed that New California is in constitutional default. These folks here just explained one of the attributes of that. In 1849, a constitution was written in California that allowed us to become part of the United States. That is called a compact. Sadly, California has not just breached it, they've broken it, they've used it as toilet paper, as we have heard many a time. And I encourage you to go look at the Constitution that they list now. The California legislature is privileged to present this compilation of historic documents. Taken together, these compacts, treaties, and charters embody the ongoing evolution of our core principles of representative democracy. I think we're a constitutional republic, aren't we? It is important to note that our state constitution is a living document. It has been amended over 500, actually over 900 times. You know, like taking away people's rights, remember COVID? Since its adoption in 1879, some recent amendments have included a change of California's term limits law through passage of Proposition 28 and many others. Of course, I have copies for all of you. I want to encourage you. As senators, we have written bills. I've signed them. The governor will be signing them soon enough. That will never allow the tyranny that you was forced upon these citizens of this county, and I think quite a few of you took it too. I hope you are educating yourself because you stood up there and you listened to the medical department, you listened to the hospital lie through their teeth. The government knew these results. They knew these results before they enforced them upon people. And that is why there's folks like me and others, people that have dirt under their fingernails, people that don't give a damn about their paychecks, that put everything on the line to save our constitutional republic. What have you done to do the same? I've asked you to come to our meetings. Our last one was standing room only. They were in the hallways. They can't wait to see this happen. Governor Trump, or President Trump is so aware and so proud of all the work that we've done. I mean, it's joyful. He is well aware. He's well aware of this, that I don't have time to read to you, but he's aware of it. Times are changing. This kind of stuff will never happen again, not under us, and hopefully under the Constitution that we are writing. And it's most like the U.S. Constitution. We'll never allow what happened to them or anybody else. And earlier you had child abuse prevention. What do you call making youngsters take that shot? What do you call having all the seniors take that shot? What it has done to them. I've lost friends. I have lost family members, and everybody else in here has. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Board. My name is Mike Thomas. I'm a 30-year resident of Tuolumne County, and I'm here today in support of Ronald Owens and Julie Threet and what they are doing throughout the state. I had one confirmed case of COVID in November 2020. I am unvaccinated against COVID, and I've not had it ever since. Everyone I know who has been vaccinated has been sick with COVID at least 3 times, some as many as 5 times. And I'm sure that most people in this room are not unfamiliar with that type of situation. In September 2021, interesting timing, the CDC changed its definition of a vaccine from a product that stimulates a person's immune system to produce immunity to a specific disease, protecting that person from that disease, to this new definition, a preparation that is used to stimulate the body's immune response against diseases. That's directly off the CDC website. So according to the CDC's own definition, the vitamin C that I took last night is a vaccine. The colostrum in a mother's breast milk is most definitely a vaccine. I read an article from the Mayo Clinic last night also about how vegetables stimulate the immune system to help protect against disease. So according to the Mayo Clinic and the CDC, broccoli is also a vaccine. So in fact, due to my diet, I hereby forever now identify as fully vaccinated against COVID. But seriously, why did they change that definition from one claiming immunity to a specific disease to a virtually meaningless definition. Do your own research, but I think they did it because they wanted the same product liability protections that real vaccines get. And now all the people who are getting injured and dying from this thing that isn't a vaccine and doesn't even work have no legal recourse. I'm holding a copy of the childhood vaccine schedule printed from the California Department of Public Health. Are you aware that on this schedule it calls for 5 COVID shots prior to kindergarten? Whatever happened to first do no harm? Whatever happened to informed consent? Don't we just have uninformed coercion? We are supposed to have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That makes local government the tip of the spear. You are the top dog, not the other way around. You're supposed to be telling the state what your constituents want. You're supposed to be helping to protect your constituents. Are you? Please do that, and please tell the state to stop the COVID shots, especially in babies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good morning. My name is Peter Baldridge. From 2009 to 2014, I was the Assistant Chief Counsel for Contracts and Prevention Services at the California Department of Public Health. And since 2001, I was the lead attorney for the State Department of Public Health on matters related to communicable disease control and pandemic preparedness. And I've spoken often in front of the California Conference of Local Health Officers, so I have fairly extensive experience in this area. I'm coming to you today, and I'd like to add to the comment that was just made, that you are the top dog. There is a provision in the Health and Safety Code, 101025, which gives the Board of Supervisors the authority, the duty to preserve and protect public health. This is unique. The Board of Supervisors are the only entities that have this authority. The local health officers don't have it. The California Department of Public Health doesn't have it. And the CDC certainly doesn't have it. And yet what I've seen over the years, these past few years, is boards of supervisors deferring to local health officers, who are in turn deferring to the Department of Public Health, who are in turn deferring to the CDC, which, as was pointed out, seems to frequently change definitions to suit its purposes. Now, I'm very gratified, having reviewed the public health website for Calaveras County, that vaccines are no longer advised as a way of preventing COVID. In fact, the website says that there is no vaccine that prevents COVID, and I'm gratified that that is there. But there is still a link on the website to the CDC, and the CDC's first recommendation for preventing COVID is to stay up to date on your vaccines. I would request that the board direct public health to remove that link from the website. The other thing is that pharmacists and physicians in this county are still administering these vaccines, despite a horrific safety profile, which I will not go into further because I think it's been well explained today. This board has the authority to instruct physicians and pharmacists in this county to cease and desist on administering this vaccine. Every time the vaccine is administered to a resident of this county, there's a great risk of harm to that individual. The VAERS reports on this vaccine are off the charts. More adverse events have been reported for these vaccines than all other vaccines combined.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention.
Is there any other public comment? We'll move on to general consent agenda.
Consent agenda items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. They will be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. Any board member, staff member, or interested party may request the removal of an item from the consent agenda for later discussion.
Are there any items that the board would like to pull?
13, 15, and 16.
13, 15, and 16.
I'm going to be abstaining on item number 7.
Okay.
I will vote for the rest of them, but
Okay.
item 7 I will abstain from.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public that wish to?
I'd like to pull item number 6.
6, thank you. Jamie?
I support the pulling of item number 13. Thank you.
No.
Is that it? Then we'll move on. Do I have a motion for the rest of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So that's 5-0 except for item number 7, in which Supervisor Toffenelli abstained. Item number 6, Jamie?
Item 6, action item, Administrative Office, adopt the Calaveras County Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
I've pulled this item to add some additional information and bring back to you at the next meeting.
Thank you. We'll move on now to item 13. Oh, actually, hang on. Do I have any public comment regarding that? Okay, we'll move on to item number 13, please.
Item 13, Resolution, Public Health Services. 1, authorize the board chair to sign an agreement with Renee Ramirez, M.D., to serve as Calaveras County Health Officer for the period of July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026 for the not-to-exceed amount of $166,400. 2, adopt a resolution reappointing Renee Ramirez, M.D. as the Calaveras County Health Officer effective July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026 pursuant to the aforementioned agreement. And 3, authorize the Director of Health and Human Services or designee to sign any subsequent amendments to this agreement so long as the not-to-exceed amount does not increase.
Ms. Ramirez, you need to speak to this?
What?
What's that? I'm sorry, Rodriguez. My apologies. That's why.
Where was speak to it?
Hi, Colleen Rodriguez, Deputy Director of Calaveras Public Health. I'm not sure what you want me to speak.
Yeah.
To?
You want me to ask my questions?
Please.
Thank you. First of all, we've been through this song and dance plenty of times. Typically, prior to 2021 up to 2021, it was brought to us during our June during our regular budget, and then after things became a little more stressful, all of a sudden it slipped in on consent agenda in February and March, and then I asked for it to be kicked to June again, and it was agreed on by the board. And last year I didn't bring it up because we were dealing with some there was things that was taking my attention, so I didn't pull it last year, so I didn't quickly forget, but it did go in prior to what the board had agreed to, it coming in on June. I've asked in the past for an RP to put out for, another person. From my perspective, the work put into that was below the level that I would have expected to hopefully acquire a public health director that would work for the benefit of the people in the way that Calaveras County supports. So my request is that we put forward, if the board would support putting forward an RFP to look for a public health director, and at this time, Ramirez is our public health director, and at that point, if no one else comes forward that the board supports, then Mr. Ramirez could continue being the public health director as required by state law.
So can I just clarify something really quickly? You're asking for Dr. Ramirez to become the health officer, right? Not the public health director. I just want to make sure. Okay, I just want to make sure you weren't going to put out an RFP for my position.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Colleen, I'm not trying to replace you with Dr. Ramirez.
These are wild times, Supervisor. I defer to the board on that. I think that the reason why we brought it through at this time wasn't to slip anything or do anything. I think it was literally just so that we could ensure that that contract could go into effect on June, so that because we are required to have a health officer. And given how there's so many things that are kind of coming out, I think we just were trying to honestly be proactive and in no way slip. I mean, we're really transparent. We weren't trying to slip anything by you.
It was requested by the board in the past to bring it forward to June, as it was done historically, and it continues to be put forward to us on consent agenda earlier on. So that's just my perspective.
Sure.
I mean, not saying that's your intent, but my request is if the board would consider putting forward for an RFP.
I want to make one small clarification. I'm not 100% sure that a request for proposal would be but some sort of competitive procurement.
Let's say RFA, request for applications.
Or quotes or some, so do a competitive
yes,
procurement process.
Procurement process, so, and, in that thought process, understand that the state requires us to have a public health officer and, for the benefit of the people of Calaveras County. But at the same time, let's see if we can do something that's for the best of the people of Calaveras County and find someone that puts in an application that we can work with.
And then just regarding the efforts that we put into the last time that we did it, we really did. I don't have the numbers with me, but again, health officers aren't necessarily easy folks to find. So we will continue to robustly seek out folks.
Maybe someone in this room knows someone that they can talk to. Who knows?
Great.
Supervisor Toppinelli, do you have any comment? Nope.
I think it would be a relatively short time to go out for an RFP or anything like that. I'm not sure. I think, as you brought up the last time, I think he was the only one that even came forward. So if you want to prepare something for next year, and if we want to do this now, and we don't get any responses, he may just say it's the end of my contract, and then we don't have an office. So I'm fine with this for right now.
Supervisor Fallendorf?
I agree with Gabe.
Supervisor Randolph?
Yeah, I would just need to know a little bit more about the timeline of the process. I'm just concerned that would we get all this back and be organized by June and put us in that position. But I think that it's good to always explore what our options are if timelines allow.
Is there any public comment regarding this item?
We have online public comment as well.
You have no comment?
Not yet. Go ahead.
Great. Yeah, thank you again, Julie Threet from Butte County. When I came up here for the general public comment, I saw on your agenda that you've got this contract up, and I feel your pain. Butte County went through the same thing. Our Dr. Canton was our medical officer. He lived in Patterson, down south, and then he moved to Chicago, and we still had him employed. We did recently then hire Dr. Baudouin, and I brought his contract, I brought his job description, I brought everything with me that I'll give to you so you can help with this RFP process. Call Shasta County. They actually turned their public health officer into a doctor. They hired an actual clinical doctor to be their public health director as well as their medical officer. So they've eliminated this kind of bureaucracy that we're running into problems with in this public health administration. Get Dr., have Dr. Ramirez come up here. He's been here 4 years. We've gone on 5 years in the biggest disaster of our lifetime. Tell him to come up here and do an agenda item and walk through every single one of your COVID policies. Why did we mask up our kids? I went back and watched all your meetings. You had plexiglass right here. You guys were like spread out like this and there was nobody here. Are you going to do that again? What about the learning loss with the children? What about the remdesivir that's being used in the hospital that's killing people? What about the social distancing and the isolation of our seniors in the assisted living facilities? What about those first responders? Go back and have him explain to you what he's going to do the next time you've got an emergency. 16 hours for $166K. We've got our full-time guy working for $205,000 full-time. He's a permanent resident. He lives in our county. I know it's hard to find. But again, I implore you to call Shasta County. Get Dr. Ramirez up here and say, look, you need to face the public for your 16 hours and explain these COVID policies and what you would do differently, what you would do change, what are we going to do when we have bird flu, and really, kind of make him work for his pay. So thank you, and I'll give this to your clerk.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment?
Hi. Dr. Ramirez. You could ask anybody in the Health and Human Services Agency. I'm always available. From day one, Supervisor Stopper, on our Zoom, middle of COVID, he said, when are we going to see you? I said, just let me know the time and place. If you wanted me here today, I would have appreciated it if you would have just reached out. I'm a quick email away. I take calls all day. I'm up at 4 o'clock, most mornings, responding to emails, checking my schedule. I go to bed oftentimes at 11 o'clock, have conversations with Colleen. I think we were talking at 9 o'clock at night the other night. Georgia, 8 o'clock the other day. Every day's a mystery. I do emergency medicine. It's nothing new to me. We work all shift times, all different times. I have said time and time again, my interest is for the health, safety, and well-being of the community. Supervisor Stopper, I was going to say, I don't know what I did to upset you so much, because each time I feel as though I am in your crosshairs for some reason. Now, it's interesting because today we did some awesome proclamations with regards to sexual assault and child abuse. Both are topics that are very near and dear to me. I served on Marjorie Mason Center's Domestic Violence Board of Directors for almost 10 years. I recently rolled off, and now my wife has assumed a position. These are topics that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, not only in the community, but through professional services. Colleen, everybody within the agency knows, just call me when I need to be here, where I need to go. Just give me some time with regards to schedule changes. My schedule is made 6 months in advance. It doesn't mean I can't drop something for an emergency. I can make things happen. So then I was asking myself this rhetorical question, what did I do to upset you so much? Well, then I remember back in 2021, it's a little ironic because today we're here talking about child abuse, earlier, and assault. Nobody should be subject to assault in any form, whether that's verbal, microaggressions, slanderous statements. And all I'm trying to do is to be a good human, to do a good job, and to try my best to ensure the health, safety, and well-being of the community. So then I remember first when Dr. Stopper, or Mr. Stopper and I had an exchange, it was when we were talking about the COVID vaccine, and I was saying, hey, I'm also doing this, my kids are also doing this, and then I felt some support from Mr. Stopper saying, Dr. Ramirez is here just trying to show everybody that, he's human and that he's also taken this vaccine in support of the general well-being. But then something changed a few months later where we had people like today lining up saying, no vaccine, no vaccine. And then the last time I spoke in this forum, it was right after Mr. Stopper. And my words are a little fuzzy because it's been a few years, but it's on YouTube for anybody to look. And there was some question with regards to why do we need another booster? And something to the fact, when is this going to end? And part of my job is to try to articulate, explain, and maybe interpret complex medical situations to the general public. So I did the best I could to explain any hesitancy or concern with regards to what a booster was. And I used a couple of analogies that I hope that could resonate with people. And one of the analogies was the cell phone and the update, or the computers and your antivirus system and update. And I asked a rhetorical question. I asked the general public, think about what phones you have in your pocket. And I got an interesting response from Mr. Stoppard. He kind of chuckled and said, that'll show you, Dr. Ramirez, I wait until my phones are dead and gone before I replace them. Now, I didn't want to respond to the general public. I don't want to wait for people to be dead and gone before we replace them. We want to try to ensure the health, safety, and well-being of the community. And Mr. Stopper voiced that he was frustrated with the antics and everything, the polarization. And I too said, we are also frustrated on the medical community side. And I understand that frustration. I do. But every single day, I do the best I can to try to articulate. I'm going to read to you a letter really quick, if I may, from my son that I just received yesterday. I don't have my glasses on. This print's a little small, but I'm happy to share. And it says, quick write, leadership. This is by my son. He's in 9th grade. And it's a little emotional now that I read it up here, but it says, this is based off of a quick write he had from Lord of the Flies. A good leader, in my opinion, is not named or given the title of a leader. A true leader has the discipline and the strength to work, but is also able to help guide their comrades when needed. A good leader is relatable to all, or can find common ground and still bring the outliers of a group together. A good leader strives for inner peace and self-improvement, written, themselves, and as a whole group. The traits of a good leader also are willing to sacrifice their own resources for the sake of overall group. That's a long letter. I can share it with you guys. I'm not going to make everybody subject here to a 15-minute letter, but all I am trying to do is do my job, and my job is to help people. My job is to help people. Now, it's interesting because one of the prefaces of today's discussion regarding agenda items were specifically, these are not intended to be controversial. But yet, one day after our last encounter on Zoom, I got an interesting phone call from Corey Allen, our previous Health and Human Services Director. She said, Mr. Stopper is very upset, and he's demanding an apology. And I said, what did I do? All I tried to do was to articulate what the COVID vaccine is, what is required, or what we're trying to do as a medical community. And he said, well, he thought you were being condescending and rude. I said, I wasn't speaking to Mr. Stopper. I was speaking to the general public and trying to articulate. And I said, I'm sorry if I upset him. I am not trying to upset anybody. Then she said she talked to him and said, okay, now he rewatched it, and that's fine. I didn't mean to bruise your ego. The video. I didn't mean to bruise your ego. I didn't mean to upset anybody.
Doctor.
But if an apology is what you want, I apologize.
Okay, Doctor, thank you.
I hear you, and you can go back and watch the video, and it was not, my phone is dead before I change it in. You asked when we would update our phone with an antivirus software, so it could. I said, I don't update it right away because the updates don't always address the problem and mess the phone up. So I appreciate your point of view, Dr. Ramirez. The point is, I do need to sit down with you, and I can explain to you where I was coming from. But misquoting me, once again, is not going a long ways to mending the relationship. So, but
I'm not trying to misquote you, and I said, and I did say, I'm sorry, it's been a few years, and I did say that anybody can go on there and watch it.
I'm fine with it. I have certain times I remember things a little bit off base too, so we're fine with that. But to be clear, I don't wait for things to be dead and gone to address them. And I do respect the position that you take, and I do believe you do care. I'll stand by that, okay? With that, not a personal attack, just moving forward with how I believe we can best benefit Calaveras County, and if it continues to be you, so be it.
I appreciate your perspective. During my time here, there have been a couple requests for proposals. The initial one was when I was the only person willing to do it. I'm not saying I'm the only person willing to do it. I do my job. I've done it for a while now. We have meetings throughout the state. If your concern is whether or not somebody resides in county, I want this to put you to ease. I am here when you need me. I came up for a jail inspection. I'm up for meetings. This is the year 2025. You're telecasting your meeting right now to the world. We are so much relatable, and we are more alike than we are different. And I think we are all here because we care. And I just want everybody to know that I am here because I care, and I am approachable. I'm a human being. I'm a dad, a doctor, I'm a volunteer. I'm just a regular person.
Okay. And you're proud, so that's good. And I'm glad you're proud to be a dad, a doctor, and everything you do. That's good. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Doctor.
We still haven't made a decision as a board.
We
No.
still have online public comment.
Oh.
Online.
Can we go
do
to the
have-
public online comment?
Yes. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Carl? Mr. Stoughton, you can unmute. There we go.
I'm right here. I'm here.
Thank you.
Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, wave if you can hear me. Everybody wave. Okay. Okay. First off, let me apologize to Dr. Ramirez. Mr. Stopper isn't indicative of the people of Calaveras County. He was elected by some marijuana growers a while back, and we just haven't been able to get rid of the guy. He's an imbecile. Your son's letter was very touching, and I have to agree with him. I deal with doctors on a weekly basis. I have personal relationships with them, and I am professionally these days. I might have cancer, so I have to go in for the blood tests and prove everybody wrong on a weekly basis. You're professional. The staff likes you. I like you. There's not, your son said it so well. And I think we should we should all send that letter to each of the board members and let them read it, because he spoke to the very essence of what a good doctor is. And you are definitely a good doctor. So I'm not supporting sending this out and getting more at this time. We can do that next year just as part of a good public policy, but not as Mr. Stopper wants. And he has a friend down in Valley Springs, has a clinic down there that he thinks will help him politically if he gets him this job. And luckily, Mr. Topanelli stepped away from that when this thing originally came forward. I've always supported you. Us Hispanics carry a heavy load. I was up at 4 a.m. this morning as well. Just got off a helicopter, and I'm going to have to get back to work pretty soon, but thank you very much, Dr. Ramirez, for the work you do. Take care and have a good day.
Do we have any other comment online?
We have no further online public comment.
We'll take public comment here.
Dr. Tomas Aragon, the director of the California Department of Public Health when I was there, he would always talk about having the meekness to say that I'm wrong. We were going on information at that time. Unfortunately, that standard was not applied in my situation when I apprised my management about the dangers of the COVID-19 vaccine. This is my 28th appearance before the Board of Supervisors. I feel like, and Julie Threet and others here are advocates for people who do not come, who may not watch. Last Thursday, I contacted the county health department, and I was handled very, very nicely. The ladies who picked up the phone, confirmed the email addresses because I had questions regarding the website. They were very, very friendly. I sent an email to the county health department on Thursday, and I don't know if it was ever received. I saw that I made a mistake in that email, and I resent a second email. Thus far, there's been no response, and there's some questions I had regarding your COVID-19 policy. I'm not sharing this to embarrass anybody, but I'm sensing if I have not received any response to the questions I had, and I'm not a member of the community, how many other people are not being properly served?
This public comment is actually regarding item number 13 and Dr. Ramirez.
Right.
So,
And Dr. Ramirez was CC'd or sent that email.
okay.
So that's why this is germane.
Okay, thank you.
So, but back to the subject regarding the danger of the COVID-19 vaccine and what was decided back then. It was based upon information at that time. And as Julie Threet noted, what's going to happen with this candidate moving forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to point out that Dr. Ramirez actually stepped up to the podium to speak during a time of public comment, and he was given over 10 minutes to speak. I know the item was about him, but he stepped up during public comment, and therefore his speaking time during that time should have been kept at 3 minutes. He could have returned if he was invited by you at another time to speak during this agenda item, which would be available under the Brown Act, but as he did it, he should have been cut to 3 minutes. So I don't have any personal feelings on Dr. Ramirez. I own 2 businesses, employ almost 30 people. I understand what it's like to have to, get rid of an employee and hire a new employee, and how difficult that might be. Oftentimes has nothing to do with their personalities. It's not an attack. It's not personal. No one's claiming that he's a bad person or that he potentially even made mistakes back when all of this was unfolding and there were so many unknowns. However, with all the additional information that we have since then, maybe it's prudent to really look for a new person, even though that is not the easy road. It's the hard road. But if he can't answer certain questions to why he's done certain things, then you got to move on. You got to find somebody else. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? I'll bring it back to the board for any additional comments.
I opened this can of worms, so
Any additional comments to your?
I let you all know that I'm interested. I mean, timeline isn't pressed at the same time, but I think it's always good to open your door to possible alternatives in the future. And it's not a direct attack on Ramirez.
Right.
It's to do what's best for the county. So, and if that's continuing with Dr. Ramirez, so be it.
I feel very strongly that we don't have enough time, and that I'd like to support Dr. Ramirez in the work that he's done for our county. And I do think that the questions and holding him accountable to those questions is part of what needs to go forward.
Okay. So with that, I hear what a majority of the board is, so I will make a motion to move this as proposed.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Passes 5-0.
Just a consideration for next year, that we just open the door and see what our best path is, and if then it's still you, sir, more to it. And we should have that conversation.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item number 15.
Item 15, action item, Public Works. Approve budget adjustments to the Department of Public Works, Project Delivery Division, and Project Deposit budgets and units for the outside plan check engineering services for fiscal year 2024-25. Requires a 4/5 vote of the board.
Mr. Martin.
Good morning, Chair Liberty and the board. Micah Martin, your Public Works Director, here to present on this item. The department is asking for additional budget to cover expenses related to outside plan checking services.
Mike, I got it. You didn't even have to say it, Susan. Micah, I don't have a problem with it, just a few questions just for clarity. First of all, were we having any of this work done in-house before?
Some of the work is conducted in-house under the direction of our Deputy Director. However, there are more complex plan check services that are required for certain submittals, and those are the services that we prefer to send out to more qualified firms.
These are the ones you're actually looking to do work for. So we're not
Yes.
taking any work from any of the employees inside. This would be a more high-level engineer type review.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, and we're looking to increase the budget because, development services is, highs and lows, and right now there's been a more of an increase in those type of service requests. So that's why we're looking for the increase in the budget.
And typically, these are the type of things that go through the deputy director?
Yes.
Okay, so the deputy director isn't necessarily qualified to do all these checks, or is there a matter of discussion on time and workload?
It's more about the qualification. So, something that requires, seismic engineering or something that's much more complex, that's outside of the standard, typical grading plan checks.
All right.
Yeah.
No, thank you for the clarity. There wasn't much more I had questions on other than that, and thank you for letting the public know about that also.
No problem.
So if you want to ask for public comment,
I was just going to see if there any other board comment. Seeing none, any public comment, please? Any
We have
comment
no
online?
online public comment.
Thank you. Then I'll bring it back to the board.
I'll move this item. Thank you, Micah, on the answer on that one.
Second.
And I don't think you have to leave yet, because the next one's you too, right?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We'll move on to item number 16.
Sorry about that, Chair.
Item 16, Resolution, Public Works, adopt a resolution approving list of projects proposed to receive SB1 Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Act funding for fiscal year 2025-26.
Mr. Martin?
Yes, this is the item that we said we would bring back after our study session on February 11th. This is the list of projects that we're looking to have approved to be funded out of SB1 funds, and also the expenditures related to our road maintenance crews and the work that they do.
I pulled this item is because we had this discussion, and it's going right along those lines. First of all, I guess it's left up in the air for Paris Ferry, not Paris Ferry, O'Burns. That's to be determined in the future of what the date is. But the other two roads do have dates on them, so we nailed them down for future years moving forward. So the capital improvement list, or our CIP program, when are you bringing that back to us?
So we're looking to come back the second meeting in April to present the CIP.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay.
I had some constituents that had a few questions on it, and they would just really, they want to make sure that Hart-Vixen gets redone, because, and maybe we should send someone out there and make sure that it's at least drivable during the interim, because I had to tighten all the bolts on my truck.
Supervisor Collendorf? Do you have any?
I was just gonna move the item, but I'll wait.
Go, yeah, public comment, and
Is there any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
Gary.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I
didn't see.
I just want to bring up the fact, if you're going to bring this back in April with CIP, that, as I said back then, this previous meeting, SB1 funds are supposed to be used in District 1 have actually been mostly used in District 2 on Gold Strike Road because nobody looked at the map change, and Southworth Road didn't get what it was supposed to get. So consider that when you bring back your list for CIP, that District 2 got a lot of the SB1 funds meant for District 1.
that Burson Road moved into your district, right?
Person Road's in my district, but there was no district, there was,
Did they even finish the rest of that?
no, that was another thought I brought up. They never finished it.
Yeah, because the second part of Burson Road was in my district, right? Originally, not anymore. All right, sorry, I'm talking.
Anybody else? Any other comments? Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Micah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the regular agenda. Item number 18.
Informational item, Administrative Office, receive a presentation from staff on the draft Calaveras Council of Governments Electric Vehicle Charging Infrastructure Implementation Plan.
Can I come up to the table to present?
Actually, can we just take a 5-minute break while you set up? Thank you. We're back. Thank you, we're back. Madam Clerk, we'll go on to regular agenda item 18.
Informational item, Administrative Office, receive a presentation from staff on the draft Calaveras Council of Governments Electric Vehicle Charging Infrastructure Implementation Plan.
Mr. Marcos.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. My name is Marcos Munoz, Assistant CEO here at Calaveras County. Today I'll be providing a presentation on the draft Electric Vehicle Charging Infrastructure Implementation Plan with the purpose of receiving any comments and feedback so that we can forward them to our consultant in the finalization of that plan, which will be brought back for approval once that plan is finalized. All right, so the agenda for today, I'm going to start with introductions, who was involved in this plan, go through the purpose of the plan. So, have to share my screen so that everybody can see it.
Share, Marcos.
Share screen. Here it is. Perfect. All right, there it is. Today's agenda, we're going to go through the introductions and then the purpose of the plan. I'm going to go through a few regulations that helped draft this plan, and then our fleet vehicles specific here to the county, as well as some information on charging stations and some recommendations the plan is putting forward. So introduction. So this plan, the lead agency on it was the Calaveras COG, so the Calaveras County of Governments. They're the lead agency with input from the County of Calaveras, as well as the City of Angels. And then the lead consultant was DKS Associates, as well as helping on it was Frontier Energy as one of the consultants also. So the purpose of this plan, the implementation plan is intended to guide charger deployment and recommendations for replacement of existing internal combustion engine powered fleet vehicles with electric vehicles for Calaveras County and the City of Angels Camp's municipal fleets. So this plan essentially evaluates opportunities to replace our vehicles with EV purchases, as well as charging stations over the next 15 years. So a few of the regulations, and I do want to point out this is not all of the regulations that help craft this plan, but these are a few of the big ones that I wanted to touch on. The first is the Advanced Clean Fleet Regulations. So this is specific to public fleets. So this requires that all medium and heavy-duty vehicles operated in Calaveras County to transition to zero-emission vehicles, also known as ZEV, Z-E-V. So for Calaveras County, this means 100% of new vehicles purchased starting in calendar year 2027 will have to be zero-emission vehicles. So what does medium and heavy-duty vehicles mean? Essentially, that is any vehicles with a gross vehicle weight rating of 8,500 pounds or more. So that means examples of those are an F-250, Chevy Silverado 2500, a GMC Sierra 2500, a Dodge Ram 2500. So any of those or larger meet that medium and heavy-duty requirement. So again, that is starting in calendar year 2027 and beyond, we are required to replace any vehicles with EV or ZEV, Z-E-V, zero-emission vehicles. So there is an exception there. So part of the exception, it excludes authorized emergency vehicles as defined by Vehicle Code 165. Specific to the county, that is, it excludes those vehicles that are for use by peace officers in the performance of their duty. So that would be our sheriff's office, our DA, and again, this is medium and heavy-duty vehicles, I want to point out. It also has a vehicle exception that until January 1st of 2030, vehicles with snow removal are exempt until 2030, January 1st.
Marcos?
Yes.
That includes probation too. For the
Yes, yeah,
exempt,
it's a peace officer, probation, district attorney, sheriff's office. There is another regulation, Advanced Clean Cars 2 regulations. So this is specific to our light-duty vehicles, whereas the previous one referred to our medium and heavy-duty. So in 2022, the California Air Resources Board voted on the Advanced Clean Cars 2 regulation. Essentially, they're scaling down light-duty passenger trucks and SUV emissions. And so under this regulation, passenger cars, trucks, and SUVs sold in California would be zero-emission vehicles by 2035. So if you look at the chart there, and I know, I'll try and zoom in on it, maybe not. The chart is very small, but it shows a certain percentage of vehicles sold in California have a requirement of being zero emission. If you follow the chart, as you get to 2035, that percentage goes up to 100%. At this time, unlike the other regulation that had an exemption on medium and heavy duty, this one does not have any exemptions. I do want to point out, I understand this is an ever-changing field right now. What's going on at the federal government may impact future regulations, but these regulations are currently in place right now, and so these are what this plan is based off of. So EV charging station permitting. So AB 1236, which passed in 2015, did go into effect in 2017, and it required all cities and counties to provide an expedited permitting process. And then AB 970, which passed in 2021 for counties with a population of less than 200,000. It went into effect in 2023. It basically made all EV charging stations, which was 25 charging stations or less, more of a ministerial approval process rather than discretionary. So meaning when someone submits a permit, it is approved automatically within 5 days with a couple of exceptions. However, the county is just responsible to telling the person who is submitting what they need to fix in order for it to be approved. So it has streamlined the permitting process so that EV charging stations process is much smoother, faster. So vehicles here at Calaveras County. Here is a list of sites and how many vehicles we have, and this is broken up by the light duty, medium duty, and heavy duty. So the replacement of medium duty and heavy duty begins in 2027. As you can see, the majority of those are here on the government center, and they are associated with Public Works. We have 41 medium duty vehicles. The majority of those are with Public Works as well as the heavy duty. The replacement schedule in the plan is in 3 phases. They're recommending that we begin replacing vehicles beginning in 2025 through 2028, and then phase 2 starting in 2029 through 2034, and phase 3 from 2035 to 2040. So I want to get into a little bit of charging station types. So we have a couple different chargers that are in this plan. One is the level 2 charger, and one is the DC fast charger. The level 2 chargers are at a lower rate. They cost anywhere from $8,000 to $30,000, but they do have longer charging times of 4 to 12 hours, whereas the DC fast chargers do have a higher price tag on them, but they do charge anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. And this is more on the level 2, different types of DC chargers from slow, medium, and fast. This next chart is popular vehicles and their charging time. So when you look at those level 2 chargers, let's take a Chevy Bolt, for example. A level 2 charger could take 7.4 hours to charge, depending on how much kilowatts per hour is put out by the chargers. But when you look at that DC fast charger, that Chevy Bolt can charge at 1.1 hours, which is significantly faster than that 7.4. This chart I have in here to show that not all vehicles have the same charging speed. So it's not uniform across all electric vehicles. And some vehicles, like the Chevy Bolts, can only charge at a certain rate regardless of how many kilowatts an hour the DC fast chargers are putting out. So for example, a 50 kilowatt DC fast charger with the Chevy Bolt charges at 1.1 hours, but even if it was a DC FC fast charger at 250 kilowatts, it still only has the ability to charge at that 1.1 hours, versus other vehicles can charge faster depending on how many kilowatts are put out. So the plan does recommend charging stations. It recommends at all of our areas where vehicles are currently at, and this chart gives a breakdown of which charging stations they are requesting or recommending. So the government center, they're looking at a total for all of the government center where most of our vehicles are housed overnight, 49 versus the sheriff's office, also 49, and so a total throughout all sites of 152. So here is a plan. So when we worked with the consultant, we were asked to choose 2 sites, and it was recommended we look at sites where most of our vehicles are held at. So the first 2 sites we chose were on the government center property. One is called the West Lot, being right outside, adjacent to the main entrance of this building, and that is what is on the screen right now. So the West Lot, it is showing level 2 chargers across there. One thing we did ask, and so I do want to point out, because on this West Lot as well as the Human Services Building, we did ask if they can look at public chargers, and I do want to point out, and maybe this, if the board sees, maybe we recommend a fast charger here, because if the public does come and charge, going back to that other chart, it can take several hours versus a fast charger can be quicker. But at this time, the recommendation shows only level 2 chargers in the West Lot. And then we have the Government Center East Lot. This is over where behavioral health is, next to the Public Works Yard, where they list several chargers, and they do have a combination of DC fast chargers as well as level 2 chargers in this area. We also looked at the Sheriff's Office and probation. We added 3 more sites after the initial 2 based on the recommendation of the consultants, and so we added the Sheriff, Colombo, and Human Services. Those were based on how many vehicles are at those sites. Those were the top 5 sites where vehicles were stored. Again, with Human Services, my only recommendation to the board is we take a look and notice that there is no DC fast chargers. They are recommending the one that's right next to the handicap spot there as a public one, but it is also a level 2 charger. So if that's the board's input, I can definitely pass that on. We can keep them as level 2 or look at making them DC fast chargers. So that is the fast site, or the 5 sites. And then finally, the last 2 slides here are just the replacement schedule. They broke it up into 3 phases. You can see the West Lot would be done in phase 1. In phase 2, the East Lot would be started and completed in phase 3. In addition, the Sheriff's Office would also start in phase 1, but Colombo and Human Services wouldn't start until phase 2. There is a price tag on this of the total operating expenses when all is said and done is just under $7 million, and the total capital expenses are coming under just under $4 million. The intention of this plan is to, after we receive comment and feedback here, provide it to the consultant so that they can finalize, and the COG plans on taking this plan and looking for funding to help implement, along with support from the county and the city. I know that was a lot of information, but any questions, comments, feedbacks related to this?
Any questions for the board? Seeing none. Are there any public comment regarding this?
My name is Christopher Butner, publisher of Calaveras 2026election.com. This is the March 21st, 2025 edition of the Calaveras County News, also known as Valley Springs News. I'm going to read the letter to the editor on page 7, titled Officials Warned of Potential Disaster. This is applicable to responsible EV charging infrastructure development. Calaveras and its wildland urban interface communities are under an extraordinary new threat of a catastrophic fire of man-made origin and negligence erupting in Arnold behind Meadowmont Center. This threat has a name: Tesla Supercharger, Electric Vehicle Charging Station, EVCS. A rationally cited EVCS would have been a very desirable addition to Arnold. However, the site selection process and construction at this precarious location was irrational and irresponsible. On March 4th, 2025, the Sierra Nevada Conservancy, SNC, advised me by letter that the agency has no authority to take any action on the project described in my letter of concern. I respectfully urged SNC to reconsider their position on my request for action and examine their core mission more closely. SNC, a state agency, is tasked with building resilience in California's Sierra Cascade region, inclusive of improving the environmental, economic, and social well-being. I expected that includes doing everything possible in the agency's power to ensure our region is not reduced to ash from a 100% forewarned and preventable man-made calamity. My response to SNC's Board of Directors, inclusive of Martin Huberty, Executive Director of the Calaveras Visitors Bureau and Board of Supervisors Chair, was lack of authority doesn't preclude SNC from directing my entirely valid concern to the state agencies having authority to act on my concerns. That agency may be CAL FIRE, Cal OES, Cal EPA, whose mission is to restore, protect, and enhance the environment to ensure public health, environmental quality, and economic vitality. Regardless of how rapidly fire officials claim they are capable of effectively responding to the scene of a potential EV fire at this location, it is unlikely fast enough to suppress the potentially devastating effects of thermal runaway. A potential firebomb capable of laying waste to our community is negligently sited in a vulnerable location in distressingly close proximity to densely forested neighborhoods, large-capacity propane tanks, and unregulated traffic. Do we want to lose our cherished Stanislaus National Forest, Calaveras Big Tree State Park, and forest communities to a forewarned and preventable disaster? Respectfully submitted, Christopher Butner, publisher, Calaveras 2026election.com. In conclusion, the faulty 2017 EVS.
That's it. Thank you. Any other further public comment?
We have no online public comment.
I'll bring it back to the board. I guess this is just informational, so we don't need to bring it back to the board. Thank you very much, Marcos.
Thank you, Marcos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move on to item number 19.
Item 19, informational item, Children's Services, receive a presentation about the state of families in Calaveras County.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Farah and Roberts, and today I am here on behalf of the Prevent Child Abuse Calaveras and the Committee of the Family Wellness Coalition to present to you the State of Families 2025. So the Prevent Child Abuse Council of Calaveras and its subsidiary Family Wellness Coalition, we have the vision of that every child should grow up safe, protected, and loved. And our mission to complete this is to improve the well-being of all families in the county through safe and healthy relationships within homes, schools, and communities. The coalition is built of a number of partnering agencies, the lead partners being the child welfare agencies, as well as the PCAC, but also community-based organizations, including the Resource Connection, Nexus Youth and Family Services, Calaveras County Behavioral Health, and the Court Appointed Special Advocates Association. So when it comes to this, the information I'm providing today, we have used the social determinants of health as our evidence-based framework to identify the specific concerns and the specific highlights for our county. The first one under the social and community context. Calaveras County has had an aging population for a while now, with a median age of 52. The state median average is 37. The number of children in Calaveras County under 18 is decreasing. This is influencing our school enrollment, our youth services, and our workability for our workforce. 17.4% of our children live below the poverty line, and that is slightly higher than the state average. When it comes to economic stability, the housing proportions, 35% of which are vacant housing units. They are mostly used for vacation rentals. Our median property values have increased 62% in the last 5 years, with rents rising 35%, impacting the affordability for our families. Higher than average reliance on Social Security and CalFresh is also a determining factor on the economic strain on our families. This diagram shows the left bar represents the total number of lower income renter households, while the right bar illustrates the number of rental homes that are both affordable and available to these households. In looking at California, this is a statewide issue, but also specifically within Calaveras County and in the Sierras. We have a deficit of available and affordable housing for those families that live in our area. When it comes to food security, nearly 6,000 people in Calaveras County experience food insecurity, representing 13% of the population. 35% of our food insecure residents are above the SNAP eligibility threshold, meaning they struggle to access food assistance. The average meal cost in Calaveras County is $4.88, contributing to the annual food budget shortfall of nearly $5.5 million. When it comes to education, the limited public transportation has been kind of a thing that's been happening more recently, is really affecting our school attendance and our access to services for the children and for the families. Some services receive only 1 or 2 bus services per day. The chronic absenteeism rate has increased, worsened by the school bus route elimination. So we, as a coalition, have been starting the discussion on possible strategies for how we are going to be incorporating after-school programs, and we are bringing to the table the community transportation partners to find alternative funding for school transport if possible. You should be receiving an invitation to this transportation meeting on May 2nd. With regards to the Calaveras County's kids and their scorecard, there are some highlights. 95% of our students graduate on time. 52% of the graduates enroll in college or secondary education. And 86% of the students with an individualized education plan, they graduate high school. Some of our low points: 23% of the children in working families, only 23% have the licensed childcare. 13% of our children are actually graduating ready for college math. 30% of our third grade students meet the English and arts literacy standards. Then 24% of fifth graders meet standards in science. When it comes to health access and mental health, It plays a vital role in supporting families before issues escalate. However, Calaveras County faces a shortfall of healthcare providers, particularly when it comes to mental health service providers. There's just one mental health provider for 440 residents, compared to one for 220 statewide. This limited access contributes to the higher rates of untreated mental health. Our suicidality rate is 21.6% for 100,000 residents. It's one of the highest in the states, and parental substance use continues to be a significant factor in our child welfare cases, with opioid-related deaths increasing over the past decade. Some of the positive things with regards to health outcomes indicators, 86% of our pregnant women are receiving prenatal care. 86% of our children have health insurance. 93% of our kindergartners have up-to-date immunizations. And 94% of our children, our newborns, are being born at healthy birth weights. And then 84% of the low-income children are being reached by CalFresh. Some of our low points indicate that only 21% of our 0 to 5 are accessing dental care. 17% of the children are getting well checkups after their 6 months, by 15 months. And 11% of the children are receiving developmental screenings by the age of 3. When it comes to our neighborhood and our environment, Calaveras County geography plays an incredible role in defining our daily life. Families here often face long distance to schools, medical care, and essential services. This makes community hubs such as schools, libraries, and family resource centers critical to be gathering points for families to seek support. At the same time, the housing access is influenced by the land and our policies and tourism demand. The homes are being used as vacation rentals rather as permanent housing for our local families. Additionally, wildfire risk and rural limitations create challenges for emergency responses, making disaster preparedness a priority. So Maylee alluded to this statistic. This is one that we've been bringing to you for several years, and that is the cost of child maltreatment to Calaveras County. This is a 50% reduction from year over year. So this is by far one of our better numbers we presented to you. That is still 5% of Calaveras County's budget at $17,600,000. This information is provided by safeandsound.org and kind of illustrates where we could potentially spend those prevention dollars if we were able to further reduce those numbers. That cost breakdown includes not only the specific cost to child welfare, but the strain it has on our education system, our criminal justice system, our healthcare system, but also outlines the lifetime productivity of those youth who experience child welfare. So although our services and support help a child when they've experienced abuse, the lifelong impacts can be severe and lifelong. Abused children are 77% more likely to require special education, and as well as they have higher rates of school absenteeism and poor academic performance. Those children who experience abuse are 59% more likely to be arrested as juveniles and 28% more likely to have an adult criminal record, making it more difficult for them to be employed. Those adolescents who are victims of child abuse are more likely to be unemployed as an adult and more likely to require public assistance. And those victims of abuse have a 21% higher long-term health care costs, including incidence of chronic health problems, mental health issues, and substance abuse issues throughout the adulthood. While those numbers I just shared at 54 substantiations, that means those are the children who have the child abuse calls that have been determined to actually be true, is that the county is still looking at over 800 calls being made to the agency. So they're filtering through those allegations to get to those substantiations. And that is the reason for prevention. Because if we can help the families in that point at the allegation find the support that they need, then they will not face those outcomes being brought into child welfare. So an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, Benjamin Franklin. And we are continuing to move from a reactive system to a proactive system. And I look forward to showing you some of the things that we've been working on in 2024 that are going to continue on in 2025. Through all of our agency support, we've created something called the Calaveras Care Team. And this is a secondary prevention model. And this is where many agencies are coming together, and we're being referred a family that might have some allegations of potential struggles. And the prevention team, through a release of information, is meeting with those families and providing them with opportunities to find services, support with everybody at one table so that they can potentially address their needs right there. And we have been able to effectively help a number of families stay out of the child welfare system. Last year, they served 23 families through the care team, and so that's not individual children, that's families. And out of those 23 families, none of them entered the child welfare system. We are also excited to announce that through Nexus Youth and Family Services, if you're not familiar with them, that is the umbrella agency that CASA falls under. We were able to open a youth center in Valley Springs. We opened our doors on March 1st, and we're providing drop-in services for youth ages 12 and older, and have partnered with our public health, our behavioral health, as well as child welfare to provide drop-in needed things, but we'll be structuring many different programs, such as tomorrow I'm doing a sewing class. So if you have any youth who are interested in going, that is starting at 3:30. And next month, the public health is going to be doing some substance use prevention classes as well. And as we get this rolling, because we're kind of building it as we're flying, is that we will be providing calendars throughout the community so that youth have structured activities to attend, but as well as just being able to drop in and get support. And if it's found that the children need to have more structured therapeutic interventions, there is a pathway for us to implement that in the youth center. So we are open right now on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we are mostly there from noon on to capture. We are working with a youth advisory board who's going to help us shape what that is going to look like. All of our staff and volunteers will be background checked, and this space is available for meetings for the entire community. So if there's a need to have a meeting in Valley Springs, we're happy to have that open for you. And we will be offering other events throughout the year where the entire family is invited. And then if you want to sign up to get a newsletter, there's some information there. We continue our work with the Comprehensive Prevention Plan, something we introduced last year, being completed. This Comprehensive Prevention Plan is to help us affirm that we are committed to keeping children and families together and preventing the need for foster care whenever possible. Like much of the data is already kind of illustrated, the prevention plan is working on identifying the poverty issue and helping families with that, as well as the social isolation. We were able, through the data, to really kind of develop the 4 pillars of need, and that is be the affordable housing, substance use treatment, child care resources, and mental health resources. And our target populations include those with caregiver substance use disorder, supporting children with acute behavioral health issues, expanding the support to families through non-traditional means, that means community-based services, and then also expanding our services that can be fiscally and programmatically sustainable, and expanding access to support for families in more rural and isolated communities through virtual and in-home service delivery models. So some of the child welfare's tangible goals within the short-sighted is having a closed-loop referral system. This is when someone has a concern about a child or child maltreatment. They're able to present that to child welfare, And then from that closed referral system, that child is wrapped around with all of the services, and it comes back to whoever is reporting to make sure that that loop is closed. There's also a community response guide, so as someone is making a referral for child maltreatment, it can also provide a list of services that are available in the immediate need, should child welfare not be able to immediately respond. There's also a move from mandated reporting to community supporting. When child maltreatment reports are being reported, then we're going to definitely suggest how that family and those children can be supported within the community through the services already in place. We will continue to be strengthening the children's system of care, which is the collaboration that addresses those children who are already in foster care and their mental health needs, and then designing a supportive response to reports of general neglect, which often is the poverty issues that are related to child maltreatment. For the Prevent Child Abuse Council, our tangible goals continue to be to create spaces where all of our agencies can collaborate, and then we continue to focus on supporting programs that build our community and for our families, with the end result of continuing to reduce those numbers of children in child protective services, increasing the protective factors for the families and children, and then increase child and family well-being. So the calls of action have already been provided, and they include, hopefully, that you guys will attend with us the Children's Day of Remembrance, and recognizing those in the community who are lights of hope. And then also on May 2nd, if you are able to attend our initial transportation meeting, this is going to be pretty just kind of down to earth, and is going to be facilitated so that we can get to some actionable items that will start addressing transportation, because that right now seems to be one of the biggest factors with our kids in school. And so thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Yes.
Thank you for your dedication, Farron. Thank you for bringing more services to Calaveras County and everything else. I appreciate your work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to say thank you too, and you're prevalent right there where you're at now in that building in
Yes.
Valley Springs. You're right there. So,
And it's looking good, isn't it?
You're
Starting
very
to
active
Yeah.
During the parade.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
All right,
Is there
thank
any
you.
public comment regarding this? Thank you so much.
Just thank you, Farah.
All right, thank you,
Riley,
Autumn.
Amy, everybody for all the work you've been doing. I think this is huge that is open now.
Yes.
I hope to see it grow, and I hope to see one in every single.
Every single community, one in every community. Yes. All right. Thank
Super,
you.
Thank you. Move on to our final item, number 20.
Item 20, action item, economic and community development. Approve notice of funding availability and competitive grant program with approximately $1,171,142 of regional early action planning REAP 2.0 grant funds available for sub-award in order to promote housing construction consistent with REAP 2.0 program goals.
Ms. Galena.
Good morning, Chair, Honorable Board, Kathy Galino. I know I'm the only thing that's standing between you and lunch, so I will try to be brief. But this is an exciting opportunity. Good morning, morning still. Kathy Galino, your Economic and Community Development Director, here to bring back the Notice of Funding Availability and Competitive Grant Program for our REAP 2.0 funding. So just a quick overview. September 2024, we received the standard agreement from the California Housing and Community Development. The total grant amount was for $1.7 million for housing development in infill areas. This is very specific to reducing vehicle miles traveled and really lowering our GHG emissions. So looking at building housing in our infill areas. We amended in December and January, we amended the scope to also include pre-development. Originally, the program was for having funds for permit fees, utility connections, but then looking at a bigger picture for pre-development made sense. It was the direction of the board to expand that opportunity. We are targeting our workforce housing goals, which are between 80 and 120% of area median income. And the construction of home ownership is a big piece of this funding, as well as for rental properties for our workforce. And it is designed to meet our regional housing needs assessment, our RENA numbers, that are part of our housing element. So there's a lot of pieces that play into this. So some of the details are the funds are for pre-development infrastructure improvements. So things like land entitlement, zoning, cultural surveys, demolition, and building capacity in our infrastructure, which we find is the biggest challenge that we have. All the projects are required to follow prevailing wage law, and all funds are to be expended by June 30th, 2026. So the clock is very short on this funding. We really want to get it out the door. We did reach out to HCD because we didn't get the contract until late last year, and we thought, well, maybe we'd get an extension, and they denied that request. So with the help of county council and admin, we looked at several other jurisdictions such as Truckee, Nevada County, Tuolumne County, to see kind of how they were managing their REAP 2.0 funds. And many of them allocated their funds competitively to utility districts for capacity, for infrastructure, for those things that are a big deal and big ticket items. I spoke with many developers, both for-profit developers and nonprofit developers, and due to the prevailing wage requirements, they're just not interested in going after the funding. They can't make it pencil. We do have had conversations with Stanislaus Regional Housing Authority, specifically about the Foothill Terrace property, and we're going to have another discussion, I believe, tomorrow to try and get them interested in this project. But again, prevailing wages can be challenging. So I'm recommending that we open up this notice of funding availability and competitive grant program to both developers and our utility districts. I'm pushing hard to get this approved so that I can finish all the notification requirements by the end of this month and actually get a list of people interested in the funding by the end of April to bring back to the board. So that's kind of an aggressive schedule, but time's a ticking. So just some project criteria and ranking information. This is out of the grant award that we received. So it's for accelerating infill, as I mentioned, furthering our fair housing, and reducing vehicle miles traveled, the VMT. In your packet, there's a sample agreement that's part of the actual notice of funding availability, as well as our ranking and guidance criteria. So there we go. Questions, comments, input?
Supervisor Stopper?
Just facilitating getting this money out and being able to use it after we've been awarded it. I think this is the best course of action. So thank you, Kathy, for bringing this forward. We've had small conversations about this, and the whole board has. And thank you.
Is there any public comment regarding this issue? This is a action item.
Yes.
So we do need to bring it back to the board.
Unless there's any comments by board members, I'll move it.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Stay outside as much as possible. It's warmer out there.
I know, it's beautiful.
In compliance with Government Code 53232.3D, Board members shall provide brief reports on any meetings attended at the expense of a local agency and may make other announcements or report out.
Okay. On March 17th, I attended a LAFCO training meeting. On March 20th, I attended the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. And yesterday, on March 24th, I attended the strategic planning meeting. All good stuff. A lot of people doing great things.
I'm trying to remember what I did in the last week. It's been a little bit of a mush up other than we got photos done. We did have, as Supervisor Endall mentioned, we did have a LAFCO meeting, and we are still continuing the search for an executive director. John is hoping to finally retire this year. We've managed to keep him for another year, but we are actively working on that. And then I believe since the last board meeting, I have since gone to the state assembly to testify in front of them on local land use general plan. So thank you to staff for helping me out with that and getting prepared. So, and that's all I have.
I have nothing to report. She reported the LAFCO meetings.
Pictures.
I left it on. Then I too was at the strategic planning, and I just wanted to give a shout out. Irish Day was very successful this year. Thank you. And with that, we will end at 11:21.
Recording.